Ahead on NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
On this week's edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman, the important role fall deworming plays on a Mississippi cattle operation. Plus, how the Livestock Marketing Council can help you and your operation be more successful.
And now, NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman with host Kevin Oxner.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. I'm Kevin Oxner. Thanks again for joining us. Topping this week's cattle industry news, hot, dry weather and no immediate end in sight. That's the word from much of the southwestern part of the United States. The blistering drought is now costing an estimated $5.2 billion in crop and livestock losses, and that's just in Texas. The Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service reports that 90% of the state is in extreme or exceptional drought. Recently, we visited with a Colorado State climatologist who told us this drought is beginning to rank among the worst ever.
We know some of the really big droughts. You look at the 1930s, the 1950s, they did have multi-year persistence. The current drought, as it relates to conditions in Texas, New Mexico, and adjacent areas, is of a severity equal to, or in some cases even greater than, drought conditions experienced in the 30s and 50s. Not quite as widespread in area. So there's this sense that, wow, this is similar to some of the droughts of the past that had multi-year duration. But the fact of the matter is that weather patterns change abruptly, and we're not always able to have a handle on that months in advance.
And joining me in the studio is Todd Klaus with Cattle Facts. Todd, thanks for coming back to the show.
Good to be here, Kevin.
You know, I've heard some devastating personal stories from some friends of mine in Texas, but put some numbers to what's going on to this cow herd down south.
Well, Kevin, the drought is definitely having a significant impact on the producers in the south as they've had to liquidate or reduce their herds as their water and feed resources have run dry. If you look at the actual numbers for beef cow slaughter, which USDA, they report weekly by region, if we look at that southern region, they're actually up about 21% year to date, which amounts to about 3,500 more cows per week than a year ago. And if we look just since June, we've seen the biggest increase just since June, we're actually slaughtering about 7,000 more per week compared to a year ago. And when you take this and you compare to the rest of the country, year to date, they're actually down about 7%, Kevin. So the drought is having a significant impact on this cow slaughter in the south region.
Absolutely. And what does it mean in terms of beef production?
Well, Kevin, in terms of the production numbers, if we did some analysis and we said that beef cow slaughter in the south region was down 7%, similar to the rest of the country, and we compare that to where it's actually at today, the increase in number of cows coming to town actually only adds about less than 1% to the total production so far this year. So in terms of the short term, it doesn't change a lot in terms of the total tonnage of beef. But I think the bigger issue is further down the road. What is this going to mean for implications for expansion down the road the next couple of years, cow numbers or beef production? If producers are unable to expand or uninterested in expanding their herd, what's that going to mean when we know that the beef cow herd has declined 13 out of 15 years so far?
That's amazing. And I was going to ask you about that. It wasn't long ago that we had several of your folks from Cattle Facts on this show talking about potential cow herd expansion starting this year. What does it look like now?
So, Kevin, if we look at the regional numbers in terms of cow numbers, this southern region, we're talking about 9 million beef cows in that region, which is roughly 30% of the entire U.S. herd. So anytime there's a major event such as a drought, it's going to have a significant impact on the total U.S. cow herd. If we look at 2009, we were down about 7% for the year, which if we said that's what we were going to be this year, that would add back about 150,000 cows to our U.S. beef herd, which we would still say isn't enough to say that we're stabilizing the cow herd. We saw that in 2009 we actually lost a little over 300,000 beef cows, and you add into that the fact that we have fewer females going back into the herd than we did in 2009. The bottom line is it tells us that most likely come January 1, if the drought persists and if cow slaughter stays this large, we're likely to see the cow herd down another 400 to 500,000 cows.
Well, thank you for coming to the show. Our thoughts and prayers are with all of our friends down south as they struggle through this drought.
Thanks, Kevin.
For more information on Cattle Facts, visit their website at cattlefacts.com. Overregulation. It's one of the toughest battles cattlemen are facing on Capitol Hill these days. So what are members of Congress doing about it? More in this week's Cattlemen's Capital Concerns.
I don't think anyone is concerned about appropriate regulations, but where I hear most from North Dakota is people are frustrated with regulations that really don't make any sense. And yet they'll change farming, change ranching, and cause tremendous challenges, cost money and challenges for producers. And so, the other thing that we need to do out here is we need to recognize our agriculture industry and the jobs it's creating. I mean, it's one of the shining spots in America right now. And so rather than drag it down with regulations, we should be encouraging its growth and encouraging ag. And, again, out here right now, it seems like the bureaucrats are doing the opposite.
The president issued an executive order January 18 saying, hey, some of these regulations are just downright stupid. And I gave him a lot of credit, but I looked at the bill and the loopholes are big enough that you can drive a grain truck through. And so we took out the loopholes, we codified the bill, and we included the independent agencies, and we have about 50 people now that have signed on to this bill. If we get about 10 more, we're going to run with it. And wouldn't it be a brand new day if in Washington all of the federal agencies had to say, stop, we're going to take a look at all the regs that we have promulgated. Now some are going to have to stay in place to protect safety and health and everything, I know that. But not only take a look and put up a cost-benefit yardstick, get in touch with the stakeholder, get in touch with the person that is affected by this, ask them. So many of these things are done by interim rule now and by administrative procedures, so you do not have a comment period.
The new rules, regulations coming down are going to be extremely expensive to comply with, very, very harmful as far as to trying to grow agriculture. And it is unfortunate that there are people writing rules today in Washington, D.C. that have no idea what production agriculture is about. They have no idea what that cattleman goes through. They don't, the pork producer, the grain farmer. They really don't understand what these rules that they were probably with their best intentions in mind, but the impact that that's going to have. And again, it gets back to you're going to put the smallest producers out of business because the huge corporate farm producers are able to afford to comply with these rules.
The whole country is dealing with overregulation, and this is going to be an escalating problem because the administration is determined, in my opinion, that they can't get done legislatively what they would like to do to change America. And so they're going to rely on their regulators to try to change America. And they are passing very onerous regulations in all areas of our economy, most of which are going to harm jobs and harm professions and cause the cost to go up. And quite some of them are absolutely idiotic.
Join the fight and the National Cattlemen's Beef Association today. Call us at 1-866-USA-BEEF or visit us at beefusa.org. The upcoming hot topic on Capitol Hill, the 2012 Farm Bill. Hearings are being held around the country to gather your opinions about U.S. farm policy. We recently had a chance to ask cattlemen about their thoughts.
I would hope that our congressional folks would take a long-term look at how to provide a safety net for both our farms and ranches, while at the same time not hamper us with uncumbersome regulations.
Obviously, I'm hoping they're going to rein in gypsum, that something is going to be done about gypsum in that farm bill. Gypsum can be a great ally for the markets, obviously, and that's what it's supposed to be. But some of the things that we've had to deal with and we've been fighting for the last year could really restrict a lot of our premium programs that we use in the market.
I would like to see more things focused on actual agriculture and less focused on the food and welfare items that are actually incorporated into the Farm Bill, because I don't think that people realize that some of the subsidies that are paid are actually for food stamps and food programs instead of actually farm production and livestock and grains and the things that actually are troubled with some of these things that we're overcoming right now with droughts and situations like that.
With our debt situation the way it is in the nation, it's very likely that agriculture is always a target for getting cut. What kind of cuts those are going to be, I don't know. I for one am probably not real fond of the ethanol subsidy that currently exists, because obviously it puts us at a little bit of a disadvantage.
I would like to see something done with these preventive plant acres where you get into these flooded areas and they can't get in. It would be nice if we could put a forage crop in there in, say, July, and then yet get in there and hay that. I think there could be something done with some of the CRP contracts, a little more easy to get in there and hay it under disaster situation.
I think less is going to be better when we look at what's happening with the future of politics and the future of the agriculture industry. How can farmers themselves help themselves now, whether it's insurance, whether those safety nets, where they come from, but what can we do to self-insure ourselves? Let's take this burden off the taxpayers' back, and we can do it. I mean, we gamble, we farm every day, we feed cattle every day, and so I really think that this farm bill, I hope they come and ask us some questions and ask for some guidance, because we can help them.
Want more information on policies? Check out our website at beefusa.org. Ahead on this week's edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
My encouragement would be to make it a priority. It's a very cost-effective way to add pounds to your cattle and dollars to your pocket.
We head to the Deep South to learn why a solid deworming program is saving both time and money on one cattle operation. Plus, caring for the environment and the land. How one award-winning operation is doing it each and every day. We'll be right back.
You're watching NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman on RFD TV.
Draxxin, clearly cattlemen's #1 choice to fight BRD. Here's why.
Nothing is more depressing in a stalker business as to doctor and you still have your chronics, you still have your death loss. And with Draxxin, we just found out that, especially with microplasts, you just had to be there to see the results.
And the evidence backs up what most cattlemen already know. Draxxin cuts chronics and mortalities by 70%. So talk to your veterinarian and check the online calculator at Draxxin.com. You'll see, nothing gives you more for your money when you're fighting BRD.
Just a great antibiotic. Very, very effective. Don't let the price tag scare you. It's a no-brainer. You just use it.
Do not use in female dairy cattle 20 months of age or older. Do not use in calves to be processed for veal. Draxxin has a pre-slaughter withdrawal time of 18 days. Please visit Draxxin.com or call 1-888-DRAXXIN for more information.
Want to stay up to date on beef industry news and the National Cattlemen's Beef Association? Check out the new and improved BeefUSA.org. It's where you can find news on both the Federation of State Beef Councils and the work of NCBA on Capitol Hill, plus links to some of your favorite NCBA programs like the blog Beltway Beef, the 2012 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show, and the latest from Kevin Ochsner and NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. Join us today at the new and improved BeefUSA.org.
When it's time to choose a tractor, look for quality that stands the test of time. Reliability that can carry you through the tough times. Resale value you can bank on down the road. From one brand that's been working the land for more than 170 years, all backed by the finest dealer network around. John Deere. Nothing runs like a deer.
NCBA members may qualify for special discounts of up to $400 on select John Deere hay equipment. See your John Deere dealer for details.
Welcome back. When it comes to herd health, one of the biggest profit robbers is a problem you can't often detect until it's already costing you a fortune. Parasites can be an issue for a producer anywhere in the country, but Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brian Baxter takes us to Mississippi to find out how one top seed stock operation is fighting the battle against cattle parasites.
It's just after dawn in North Mississippi, and morning fog blankets the Coldwater Ranch, one of 3 operations that make up the Kane Cattle Company.
Kane Cattle Company itself has been in operation for 30 years, primarily in the beefmaster industry. Mr. Kane recently purchased the Coldwater operation that we started in 1994, Brangus and Angus operation. And then another part of his operation in Pickens is relatively new. It's about 3 years old.
As the fog burns off, ranch manager Bill Felton is already out checking on the operation's cow-calf herd and on the bulls in development. Kane Cattle Company is a leading seed stock producer offering Angus, Beefmaster, and Brangus bulls to customers across the nation.
The bulls are handled just like all the other animals on the place. They're worked twice a year after weaning at yearling and anything after that. Nutritionally, the bulls we develop, as you see here, primarily on grass, but they are supplemented with a self-fed ration. And, you know, our bulls, we could push them harder if we wanted, but we like our bulls to be in shape when they're sold.
Bill has a top crop of Brangus bulls each year, and the Kane Cattle Company's annual bull sale held in October is highly anticipated. Bill says a strong health program is essential for the operation to remain successful.
It also is important to our customers that they realize they're buying from a place that takes care of their animals, does it right, does it professionally, and it gives them peace of mind that what they're buying is sound.
The Kane Cattle Company has an excellent herd health program. They are as attentive to herd health as any farm I've worked for. These cattle are well vaccinated and well dewormed. They do a good job of managing nutrition in a way that will enhance their vaccine response, and they do a good job of managing stress at the time that they're working them.
One of the major herd health challenges Bill Felton and other producers in this part of the Southeast face is both external and internal cattle parasites, which can quietly but steadily slow herd performance. That's why a broad-spectrum parasite control product such as Cydectin from Beringer Ingelheim Vetmedica Incorporated is so valuable.
I think we've used Cydectin since it came out. It was a pour-on that had advantages over others that we had tried before. The first time you catch one on fire when you're branding them with an alcohol-based wormer, it's easy to move to something different. You know, the fact that it's rain fast, doesn't matter if it's raining or not, you can put it on them. We shoot run a lot of our cattle in the fall when we vaccinate without having to catch heads, and it's so easy to put on that way because it's a pour-on. You get a little benefit with fly control this late in the fly season when the fly tags are not working as well. Plus you can tell if you've missed one or not. It's easy to spot.
The fact that it has a thickness to it and a color to it, you can tell which ones you've treated, and there have been times when that was important to see if you had missed treating one. And so I don't know of a product out there that's easier to use than Cydectin.
If you're deworming properly, you're going to get nutrition up, you're going to get a bigger calf, you're going to get more reproduction because they're nutritionally sound, and that's part of that deworming program.
So many of the producers that I work for, cattle are not their main source of income. And consequently, a lot of times the herd health gets put on the back burner, something that gets put off that I'll do next week and then next week. And that's where some of the biggest problems in herd health in this part of the country come from, is just not being attended to at all. And so my encouragement would be to make it a priority. It's a very cost-effective way to add pounds to your cattle and dollars to your pocket.
We'll return with more from Mississippi right after this.
From Iraq and Afghanistan, our brave warriors are coming home, wounded. Some with wounds you can see, some with wounds you can't see. Wounded Warrior Project was created to support our men and women coming off the battlefield. Please help carry these warriors the rest of the way home. Get involved at woundedwarriorproject.org.
You're not responsible for the weather, just the cattle. And Rangeland works as hard as you do to deliver performance, production, and profitability. Cattle need consistent nutrition. They'll get it year-round with Rangeland products from Land O'Lakes. Deliver what they need free choice in weather-resistant loose minerals and mineral and protein tubs. Get the most out of your forage. See your Land O'Lakes Co-op for products that will stand up to whatever Mother Nature throws at us. Weather's coming in. Rangeland. Consider it done.
NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. It's a television show by cattlemen for cattlemen.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. Thanks for joining us.
Each week, join host Kevin Oxner for the latest in beef cattle news, market analysis, and producer education. Cattlemen won't want to miss an episode. Debuting Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on RFD TV or anytime at cattlemantocattleman.org.
Welcome back. Let's return to reporter Brian Baxter, who's learning more about a comprehensive deworming program down in Mississippi.
Even with a deworming program in place, producers need to continually evaluate the effectiveness of the products they're using because research shows parasite resistance to dewormers can be an issue.
We encourage the producers to use a broad spectrum product, and most of them are now. And then again, to really pin a product down, you ought to do some testing to see if there is resistance to it.
If you're concerned that you're not getting the good weight gain, the calves don't seem to be growing the fast you want them to, the cows are a little thin, that may be an indication that your deworming program isn't being quite as effective as you'd hope it would be. Some research out there shows us that we're seeing more resistance, especially in the generics and that are being used on the farms today. If we look at resistance or fecal egg counts, in a fecal egg count reduction test, what we really want to see is we want to see at least a 90% reduction in those eggs. And some of the research that's being shown today with those products is we're not getting that 90% kill. And so if you're leaving more than 10 or 20% of your worms behind, then you're going to show some resistance and you're going to show some production differences.
To combat resistance, veterinarians advise producers to consider rotating their deworming treatments between products that work in different ways.
Remember that if you're going to rotate, go from Cydectin to another product, pour-on product, Cydectin's the most potent. We don't really want to go back to the least potent product. So if we're doing that, then we're not going to build resistance as quick. If you're going to rotate, use a product like Cydectin, and then you can use the dewormer like Synanthic, the white wormer, an oral wormer. And that way, that's more of a rotation. That way, if you're using Synanthic, you can use it and then use an external pour-on product for fly control.
Cydectin pays. The fact of the spectrum of activity that it has, the fact that Cydectin stays around in the animal a little bit longer than some of the other wormers, and then the ease of administration, the time it takes to apply Cydectin, and the lack of stress to the cattle are both big advantages to that product.
Another key to success is accurate dosing. Applying a pour-on dewormer based on average weights instead of the individual animal's actual weight can lead to reduced control and greater parasite resistance.
You got to make sure that you're getting the correct dose. For any dewormer product is let's dose them at the weight of the animal. I think that's where a lot of our resistance issues have come from, is because everybody wants to deworm at the average of the animal. And if we do that, what we're doing is we're underdosing those animals. If we're underdosing, we're going to build resistance much faster.
They seem to improve every year on the applicator. They've gotten a little larger dose now, where before it would go up to 1,100 pounds, and now it's up to about 1,450. So you don't have to give a full squeeze in a piece. You know exactly, you set it on. And our cows are going to average 1,100 pounds, so we're good on the dosage.
Bill Felton works closely with his veterinarian to ensure his cattle deworming program is on track and delivering the control he needs to keep his cattle gaining. And because Cydectin is easy to use and rain resistant, Bill is a believer in the value of using Cydectin versus other pour-on products.
It never failed the day that you decided to work your cattle. 30 minutes later it rained, and then you worried, did it work? Did it get in them? And we We don't worry about that with Cydectin. Just peace of mind. You know, you don't have to worry. You know it's working.
Reporting from Holly Springs, Mississippi, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
For more information on comprehensive deworming and cattle health programs, log on to our website at cattlemantocattleman.org. On next week's edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman, learn more about the unique partnership between Cydectin and Wounded Warrior Project as the team heads to Jacksonville, Florida. We'll be right back.
Consumers count on America's cattlemen to deliver quality beef every time. So in your daily work to raise cattle, keep quality top of mind in everything you do, in the care, feeding, and handling of your animals. You can be a part of a national program that provides sound, proven guidelines for beef cattle production that will establish you as a leader and responsible stockman. Beef Quality Assurance, or BQA, is a national program funded by the Beef Checkoff that can help you strengthen your operation, improve cattle care, drive more value to the bottom line, and increase consumer confidence in the quality of America's beef. Producers across the nation have embraced the BQA program because of their commitment to be the world's best producers of beef, and because assuring beef quality is our job, not someone else's. Find out how you can become BQA certified. Visit the website bqa.org.
Comprehensive, practical, powerful. Now's the time to put the power of DNA to work in your herd with the comprehensive Identity Profile. The inside information from Identity can help you make more confident replacement heifer and herd sire selection decisions, add marketability to your feeder cattle, make faster genetic progress, and more. The best time to get started is when you're already working cattle, during branding, weaning, or bull soundness exams. Get started today. Visit iGenity.com or call 1-877-IGENITY to put the power of DNA to work in your herd.
Texas is big cattle country and home to the Matador Ranch. This outstanding operation is now being recognized as a Regional Environmental Stewardship Award winner. Let's take a look.
On the plains of West Texas, cattle have been grazing the rangelands of the historic Matador Ranch for almost 130 years.
The Matador Ranch was established in the late 1800s. A group of Scottish investors sent money over to the States with a gentleman by the name of H.H. Campbell, and he began to put the ranch together. Our cow base is Hereford Angus cross, but you'll see in some of our cows an influence of Brangus breeding, which we've used in the past. But today, we're using a breed that we call Akiushi. There's not many of them in the United States.
Matador Ranch is one of the oldest and largest ranches in all of Texas, covering 130,000 acres. Today, the ranch is one of 3 owned by a subsidiary of Koch Industries. And in Texas, the Matador brand extends into areas beyond cattle, including a hunting program and a deer breeding program featuring superior genetics.
To enhance genetics here on the ranch, to really move forward, we've started a breeding program about 3 years ago, and we have breeding facilities. We breed white-tailed deer. We're taking a lot of the experience the cow side of the operation had with genetics of cattle, things of that nature, and looked at the opportunity to move that over into breeding whitetail.
The management of the ranch and the stewardship of the ranch, when you combine those and you do those correctly, it really creates a great habitat for both livestock and wildlife. They actually go hand in hand.
This part of Texas doesn't see a lot of rain, and drought is a major issue. Over the years, the staff has taken steps to ensure that the cattle always have access to water, no matter where they are on the operation.
We have to be pretty diverse and pretty dynamic in our operation to be able to capitalize on the opportunities that Mother Nature gives us. Water management is one of our main focus areas here on the ranch. We've developed several miles of pipeline.
We've worked closely with the NRCS here locally and developed several miles of pipeline. We began that in 1996, and that year we put in 50 miles of pipeline. Since then, we've added about 10 to 15 miles of pipeline a year.
Getting water to remote areas allowed the implementation of a rotational grazing program that uses more of the ranch.
Through our rotational systems, we've been able to develop a way to move cattle into different areas and take off old forage and allow for new growth, while allowing the previously grazed areas to recoup and rest and replenish their nutrient source in their root systems, and just build a greater forage base for the ranch overall.
Brush control also plays a key role when it comes to improving the long-term health and productivity of the land and water resources.
We do a number of different brush control methods, and that's everything from chaining brush to spraying brush, and we also use controlled burns. Not only did it enhance the grazing distribution for cattle, but it also greatly helped our wildlife program as well.
Matador Ranch has developed a sustainable approach to rangeland management that mutually benefits the wildlife and the livestock. Team members are always willing to share those techniques and innovations with anyone who's interested.
We try to share that story with any number of people to try to help them understand how they can improve as well. At the same time that we have those folks out here, there's a lot of times that they share things with us that help us learn as well.
We've had a long-standing relationship with them, and long-term they've just always been good to work with and do a lot of good conservation work. The people that run this ranch prove every day that they're willing to put in the extra effort for the stewardship of the land.
Over the years, the historic Matador Flying V brand has become a symbol of quality cattle and sound ranch management. And the environmental practices the Matador team is implementing today will ensure that legacy continues for many years to come.
I hope here at the Matador that we can continue to learn and be better stewards of the land, to take it to the next level as far as brush control, water systems, erosion, and be more productive.
I think there's some exciting times ahead of us. There's challenging times ahead of us, but I think there's some opportunities that we've yet just to scratch the surface with.
We hope that the things and the management practices that we have in place will continue to be long-term, that it'll have a long-term beneficial effect for the owners and for those that come after us.
Nominations for the 2012 Environmental Stewardship Awards are now open. Visit cattleman2cattleman.org for more information. The most important thing cattlemen and women can do is to fight to protect our industry and our way of life. That's why it's so important to be a member of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. And joining me in the studio is Kate Maher, Director of Membership at NCBA. Thanks so much for coming to the show, Kate.
Thanks for having me, Kevin.
Well, I've known you for a few years, Kate, but tell our folks and our viewers just a little bit about your background.
Sure. I was born and raised right here in the great state of Colorado. Went to Colorado State University, and after graduating with an animal science degree, moved home to help out on my family's cow-calf operation, while at the same time working for the North American Limousine Foundation. Spent many years there working for those people, and then went on to work for the U.S. Meat Export Federation before landing back in the beef industry at NCBA.
And we're glad to have you at NCBA, certainly. Well, let's talk a little bit about NCBA and NCBA membership. What does it mean to be an NCBA member?
NCBA membership is so crucial to you as a producer. It gives you a voice in D.C., and your grassroots efforts support our success in D.C. Being a member allows us to have a staff that work on your behalf in D.C. while you're tending to business at home.
As you referenced D.C., what are some of the issues that NCBA is focused on right now?
Our D.C. staff is dedicated dedicated to working on a variety of issues every day in the halls of Congress. Specifically, we're working on the GIPSA rule, the 2012 Farm Bill, and always working to push through free trade agreements.
Absolutely. Critical issues as we look forward in the beef industry. Tell me this, many times there are special promotions and incentives for becoming an NCBA member. What are you guys offering at this point in time?
There's some really nice benefits that NCBA can offer its members through its partnerships with Cabela's, John Deere, and Caterpillar, and it really has some nice discounts for members.
That's outstanding. Well, thanks so much for coming to the show, Kate, and most importantly, thanks for all you're doing for NCBA.
Thanks, Kevin.
Join the National Cattlemen's Beef Association today. Call us at 1-866-USA-BEEF or visit us at beefusa.org.
Tough trailers built for tough country. Big Ben Trailers manufactures a different kind of trailer, one that's built to put up with the rough conditions found on the ranch. Rugged build using heavy-gauge powder-coated steel and a 2x4 rectangle tube frame. There's a 1-inch gap between the side and floor, so there's no place for water or manure to accumulate and rust. Big Ben trailers are loaded with standard features: a lever-action hitch, a 3-foot escape gate, and a middle sorting gate, rhino lining along the front edges, and a receiver hitch to tow another trailer, chute, or other equipment. Tough and practical. That's Big Ben Trailers, designed and built by a working cattleman. You can rely on and trust Big Ben Trailers for their durability and convenient features. Reasonably priced for any rancher to afford. For a list of dealers and other design features, visit BigBenTrailers.com. Big Ben Trailers, built cattlemen tough.
Livestock marketing is a fast-paced business that's always changing. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Matt Fleck takes a closer look at NCBA's Livestock Marketing Council and how it helps its members reach their maximum business potential.
NCBA works on behalf of all members of the beef production chain, including livestock auction market operators and order buyers. The Livestock Marketing Council was created to give this segment of the industry an opportunity to actively participate in NCBA's governing process.
NCBA Livestock Marketing Council is a group of auction market owners and operators, order buyers, and livestock dealers who've come together to form a council within the governance structure of NCBA that allows them to have a say in the policy development process here at NCBA. We specifically deal with regulations and legislation that deals specifically with marketing of livestock.
LMC provides members with beneficial insurance, legal, and risk management tools, as well as timely market and industry information.
LMC really is an opportunity for people that are in the marketing of animals to come together with other individuals. We meet semi-annually. We also have a monthly conference call that we get on. We discuss markets and we discuss the current issues. We usually get a legal update during that about legal issues that may be going on. We also provide some priority insurance stuff with individuals that are part of our council. So I'd suggest that if you're not a member, you look into it. It's not expensive and it has tremendous benefits.
Livestock Marketing Council members believe a long-range plan to achieve a profitable beef industry is imperative to the livestock marketing community. They work with cattle producers to create new opportunities to increase profits through the marketing sector of the beef industry.
Beef producer is our customer. The Livestock Marketing Councils with the dealers and the auction houses, they are our customer. So anything that benefits our customers would naturally benefit us. Anything on vice versa, anything that hurts us has a potential to hurting our customers.
In general, our LMC members feel the same as NCBA members about the overregulation that's occurring right now, and that's why they're here to join us in these meetings so we can discuss some of these things and hopefully take some action.
Livestock Marketing Council members work hand in hand with NCBA's governing body to enhance both producer profitability and the strength of the livestock marketing industry. I'm Matt Fleck, reporting for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Join the National Cattlemen's Beef Association and the Livestock Marketing Council today. Call us at 1-866-USA-BEEF or visit us at beefusa.org. For the past 30 years, one of the signature beef promotion events has been the National Beef Cook-Off, funded in part by the Beef Checkoff. It's hosted by the American National Cattlewomen. The cook-off has always been a great way to get consumers excited about new beef recipes. This year, the cook-off leaders have made some changes to the event, and winning recipes will be unveiled November 5th at the Metropolitan Cooking and Entertaining Show in Washington, D.C. Consumers will get a chance to sample the winning recipes.
We will have the opportunity to visit with as many as 20 or 25,000 consumers and promote beef, the healthfulness of it, and the convenience of cooking with beef. All our recipes take less than 30 or 35 minutes to prepare and cook. So we are very excited to go back to this, and we have some wonderful recipes. We've been involved in this for over 30 years, and we love the fact that it's a tradition for us. And we love the fact that we have changed over the years. It was an every year event for several years, and then we changed to every other year because we thought that that was more effective for us to do. We like the fact that it evolves, but it's still the National Beef Cook-Off.
When the winners of this year's event are revealed, the grand prize winner will take home a $25,000 cash prize. For more information on this year's Beef Cook-Off, check us out at cattlemantocattleman.org. We'll be right back.
You take pride in the beef you raise. Countless hours invested to assure a safe and wholesome calf crop. Why trust that calf crop to just anyone? Experience the new Dinklage difference. With a long history and reputation for outstanding performance and cattle care. We use a combination of cutting-edge technologies and data-driven decision-making to establish our place as leaders in the cattle feeding industry. Allow Dinklage to be a part of your team in the quest to maximize your profits. With 5 locations to serve you in Wyoming, Nebraska, and Colorado. For more information on the new Dinklage difference, stop by one of our yards or visit us on the web at dinklagefeedyards.com.
Education, networking, opportunity, and fun. That's what you'll find at the 2012 Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show in Nashville, Tennessee. Get your ticket to ride with your fellow cattlemen and women in the country music capital of the world. You'll find cutting-edge education, top-of-the-line technology, and entertainment that can't be beat. Don't miss your ticket to ride to the Cattle Industry Annual Convention and Trade Show in Nashville, Tennessee, February 1st through the 4th, 2012. For more information, visit beefusa.org.
I'm Kevin Ochsner, host of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. Check us out at cattlemantocattleman.org or on Facebook and Twitter.
So what do you care if your cattle are source and age verified? Better yet, do you think the housewife cares? Well, 70% of consumers surveyed want to know where their food comes from. So where do you start? With this little green ear tag. IMI Global is the seal of approval that stands behind the beef you've produced. IMI is engaged in source and age verification from the cow man to the kitchen table. So if you're ready to start, just ask us. IMIGlobal.com.
Let's face it, you don't think a lot about your trailer hitch. You use it and forget it. We understand. But at B&W, we think about it. Short nights, the long hauls, never-ending chores. The unthinkable. We think about it all, so you don't have to. B&W. Trusted.
There was a horse sold this summer in Missouri, probably the most famous horse in the world, Trigger. RFD-TV paid a lot of money to own the mounted figure of this celebrity equine, Roy Rogers, Paramount Palomino. They also purchased his dog, Bullet. Now, I like horses, and I like pretty horses, but like most cowboys, I like good horses. And even the toughest, no-nonsense working cowboy could look at Roy Rogers and say, well, he rode good horses. I'm of the age that can remember when Roy Rogers was king of the Hollywood Cowboys. Roy and Dale, Pat Brady, Nellie Bell, Gabby, Trigger, Buttermilk, and Bullet became part of my idiom. I can't think of Roy without thinking about Trigger. It's hard to explain to teens today that being a good person pays off. Instant technology and instant answers to almost any question can be found on the internet today. The one question that the internet can't answer is what's the right thing to do. Well, that's what Roy taught us. He and Hoppy, Rex, Gene, Cisco, Lone, and Sky, in their simple parables, they showed us the difference between good and bad, between right and wrong. They led us to believe that the code of the West boils down to doing the right thing. If Roy called me on the phone tonight, I'd recognize his voice immediately. And if he asked me what was going on, I'd tell him about the great honor that we have paid his horse and his dog, and that we still think about him, and that kids still are watching these old movies because there's still a market for heroes in our kids and our grandkids. I'd also mention that many of us appreciate that in his private life, he lived up to the image of his movie character, a decent man. That's not a bad way to be remembered. Of course, speaking of being remembered, there's that horse sale. Haythorne's Horse Profit sold for $50,000. I took a paint gelding in trade for a speaking job, and RFD TV paid $266,000 for Trigger. They also bought Bullet for $35,000. You'd have thought at that price, they'd have thrown Bullet in for free. Well, this is Baxter Black on Rex Allen Saddle from out there.
There is still a market for heroes. Thanks, Baxter, and we'll be right back.
I am an NCBA member.
I am an NCBA member.
NCBA is my eyes and ears, and most importantly, my voice, because I can't be on Capitol Hill all the time. But my membership through NCBA has people that are there that know what my concerns are and can inform me when those issues come up that are affecting my day-to-day operations and can take actions on those appropriately.
I'm an NCBA member.
I'm an NCBA member because I believe that this organization is determined to preserve the way of life that those of us growing up in the cattle industry have grown to love.
I am an NCBA member.
I am an NCBA member.
I am an NCBA member.
Join me today.
Quality matters to me because I'm responsible for the care and preserving the health of cattle every day. Healthy cattle are the key to safe and wholesome beef. As a vet, I work hard to look out for the well-being of the cattle, no matter the time of day, no matter the weather. I'm here for the animals, and my work matters when it comes to the safety of the beef Americans eat. I'm proud of what we'll do here today.
Let's take a look at this week's legacy photos from around the country. We'd love to see your photos. Just check us out online at cattlemantocattleman.org or on Facebook by searching NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. Next week, we'll continue our look at some of the country's outstanding operations dedicated to preserving the environment, plus news and market headlines, and of course, our friend Baxter Black. Thanks so much for joining us for this week's edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. We'll see you right back here next week on RFD TV.
Tough trailers built for tough country. Big Ben Trailers manufactures a different kind of trailer, one that's built to put up with the rough conditions found on the ranch. Rugged build using heavy gauge powder coated steel and a 2x4 rectangle tube frame. There's a 1-inch gap between the side and floor, so there's no place for water or manure to accumulate and rust. Big Ben trailers are loaded with standard features: a lever action hitch, a 3-foot escape gate and a middle sorting gate, rhino lining along the front edges, and a receiver hitch to tow another trailer, chute, or other equipment. Tough and practical. That's Big Ben Trailers, designed and built by a working cattleman. You can rely on and trust Big Ben Trailers for their durability and convenient features. Reasonably priced for any rancher to afford. For a list of dealers and other design features, visit BigBenTrailers.com. Big Ben Trailers, built cattlemen tough.